Yesterday, somebody posted from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and before I read in the Bhagavad Gita, and then in the Bhagavatam, just a few days ago, just one after another, I read Prabhupada says that the devotees should travel a lot with the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That gives me some consolation and comfort. Traveling a lot is in line but Prabhupada says to be in Ljubljana, lovely city and community. Although thanks to Jai Mirko and others Jai Gur, you can see the darshans and videos and other amazing things. I saw your acrobatic Harinam on Janamashtami. It was a big hit on internet. Almost went viral. And even the critics, nobody said a word. Just unusual. Before I posted something where some devotee jumps and flies. Some of my friends said, "What is this?" Here nobody said anything. Yes, and this is why Bhagavatam speaks about geography. You may say, oh, traveling here, traveling there, even going in the car for 3 hours, it's tiresome. But the Bhagavatam describes different planets. You may have heard this statement from Iskandji that after we are finished on Earth, so it's probably coming soon, we will go to other planets to spread Gauranga's movement. Harinam Sankirtan, Bhagavad Dharma. I wonder which exactly it's meant, but that's what he said. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Okay, so we are in the ocean of milk. Sounds very helpful for the agriculture and farming. That's an ocean of milk. At least it sounds more healthy than the ocean of alcohol, which we also have. Actually, recently they discovered some, what do they call it? Nebula. Cosmic, astronomic fog. Megla. And they say Meglica. And they say it's made of alcohol. Modern physics. It's made of alcohol. Gas, huge amount, like ocean of alcohol between the stars. They found something. They haven't found the milk yet. But maybe they don't have the proper instruments to measure. Because I mate in the DDT, who was a big lover of condensed milk. Yeah, with sugar, condensed, nicely condensed, and with sugar. So in the evening he would go to the kitchen, and I don't know if it's steal. It means he would steal it, or he would legitimately take it. But the point is that he would bring it. Sometimes he would also cook it down. You cook it for 3 hours in this can, it becomes caramelized. And then he would say, Adi Purusha, there's this ocean of milk, and milk spoils after 1 day. So it means that ocean of milk is condensed milk. And it sort of, makes sense. Yeah, true. Very possible. So all of us who like condensed milk and still have the health to eat it, can take inspiration. So these are the usual 5th canto gadyas, or prose verses, until the prayer comes. So this is how we study geography of the other planets. We read descriptions, we read how they worship God in different planets, basically. And that sort of says a lot about the people, isn't it? You see how they worship God. What is their name for God? There's some story about Sri Sampradaya. This is 1,000 years. This year, in Ukraine, they just had a big conference. Every year they have a conference. They had a conference in Kyiv and Dnipro, in several universities, organized by devotees. Our Pranava, Fernando Sardella came there. Radhika Raman was presenting his new book in Ukrainian, Jiva Goswami and Vedanta. And this was 1,000 years of Sri Ramanuja. 1,000 years of Sri Ramanuja. So everybody was presenting. Some professors from Russia were there. Some of those had one professor who protected our Bhagavad Gita when there was this court case, 2011. They tried to ban the Bhagavad Gita. So he was defending us. So he had to basically escape from Russia. Now he lives in Ukraine. This was the first time in history when the whole Indian parliament united to condemn. First time in history. Never before they were all unanimous to protect the Bhagavad Gita, as it is. So, Sri Ramanuja Acharya. So in Sri Sampradaya, there's a famous story about some of the acharyas. So when somebody was traveling and coming back, they would ask, how do they call, about the other place, how do they call God there? What's their name for God there? And when some stories that somebody came and he said that they call God unlimited bliss. Oh, he says, oh, I want to go there. That's a good place. if they call God the judge, the punisher, oh. It's a heavy place. They call God unlimited bliss, like Rama, yes? Yes, bliss. Giver of bliss. Even Krišna, that's also all attractive. So this is how we study geography. We go to different planets, different places, and see how they call God there. So first we have some prose verses which I will read, and then their prayer to God, who is worshipped in this place, next place, as wind, Vayu. So now you can all take breath. We depend. Yeah. So this is 24. Evam porastat kshirodat Parita upaveshita shakadvipo dvatrimshalakshayojanayama samanena chadadi mando dena parido yasmin Sakodama mahiruha svakshetra vibadesako yasya maha suravigandastam dvipam anuvasayati. Outside, so this is 24. This outside the ocean of milk is another island, Shakadvipa, which has a width of 3,200,000 yojanas, or 25,600,000 miles, neither of which help us much. But you have kilometers, right? You have kilometers there? Also miles?
Yes.
Okay, sure. As Krauncha is surrounded by its own ocean of milk, Shakadipa is surrounded by an ocean of churned yogurt. Churned yogurt. What does it mean churned yogurt? Why is it churned? Is it shrikant, like shrikant?
Yes.
Churned yogurt as broad as the island itself. In Shakadipa there is a big shaka tree from which the island takes its name. This tree is very fragrant. Indeed, it lends its scent to the entire island. And 25. Tasyapi prayavrada evadipatirnam namedhatithi sopi vibhaja sapta varshani putranama niteshu svatmajan purojava manojava pavamana dhumrani kachitrarepa bahurupa vishvadhara sangyan nidhapyadhipatin swayam bhagavatyananta apeshitamatis tapovanam pravivesha. The master of this island, also one of the sons of Priyavrata, was known as Medhatithi. He also divided his island into 7 sections, named according to the names of his own sons, whom he made the kings of the island. The names of those sons are Purojava, Manojava, Pavamana, Dhumranika, Chitrarepa, Bahurupa, and Vishvadhara. Actually, it's very interesting. All these names have something to do, it looks, with the mind, with air, with the wind. Because Purojava means very fast. And Manojava, it's something like mind, as quick as the mind. Pavamana means purifying. And Krishna says in the 10th chapter of the Gita that of the purifying things I'm the wind, or air. Dhumranika, this is smoky, or cloudy. Not cloudy, filled with smoke. Chitrarepa is very funny. It's the one with the colorful tail. Oh, yeah, imate rep, yeah? Tudi je rep. Chitrarepa. Ista beseda. Repa. Okay, you kept the Sanskrit word. Not many people kept. Okay, Bahurupa. Bahurupa means, so in other words, colorful, or the one with the tail of different colors. So it's like wind blowing and having different kinds of dust and different colors, or maybe clouds or something. And Bahurupa means one who has many forms, and Vishvadhara, one who keeps the whole world, supports. So that's obviously already not the gross air, but something like prana or subtle air described in the Bhagavad. After dividing the island and situating his sons as its rulers, Medhatithi personally retired, and to fix his mind completely upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he entered a forest suitable for meditation. 26. Ede tesham varshamaryada girayona dyashcha sapta saptaiva ishana urusringo balabhadra satak Saraha Sahasra Srotodeva Palo Mahanasariti Anagha Yurda Ubhayas Prishtir Aparajita Panchapati Sahasra Srudir Nija Dhritiriti. For these lands also there are 7 boundary mountains and 7 rivers. The mountains are Ishana, Urusringa, Balabhadra, Satakesara. Triglav in Sanskrit would be Trikesara. This is Shadakesara. So 100 peaks. Sahasra Srota, Devapala and Mahanasa. The rivers are Anagha, Ayurda, Ubhaya, Sprishti, Aparajita, Panchapadi, Sahasra Sruti and Nija Driki. 27. Tatvarsha Purusha, Rita, Vrata, Satya, Vrata, Dana, Vrata, Nu, Vrata, Namano, Bhagavantam, Vaivatmakam, Pranayama SB, Paramasamadina Yajante. And now the main thing, how they worship. The inhabitants of those islands are also divided into 4 castes. And when we say castes, this is not in the modern sense of a caste. It means division, which means like restricted by birth. No, it's by nature, it's by organization and of society and education. So 4 castes: Ritavrata, Satyavrata, Danavrata and Anuvrata, which exactly resemble Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So Ritavrata means one who is avowed, dedicated to Rita. Rita means order, truth or order. So Ritavrata. And Satyavrata, one who is dedicated, who is avowed, who is a devotee of truth. So which varnas do you think are they? Ritavrata is... Yeah, so Ritavrata sounds like more Kshatriya, and Satyavrata more like a Brahmana. Then Danavrata dedicated to charity. Vaishyas, they have what to give, and they try to earn a lot, and then to, Prabhupada says, enrich cultural activities. And Anuvrata, one who is dedicated to following. Which exactly, yeah, so that we spread. They practice Pranayama. We should again take one breath. And mystic yoga. And in trance, they worship the Supreme Lord in the form of Vayu. And this is now the verse which they chant. Anta pravishya bhutani yo vibhartyat maketubi antaryami shvara sakshat patu no yad vashesputam. Let's read the word for word also. Anta pravishya, entering within. Bhutani, all living entities. Yah, who? Vibharti, maintains. Atmaketubhi, by the functions of the inner airs. Prana, apana, etc. So it's very interesting. Atmaketubhi means by the tails of Atma. Tails. Ketu is another name for tail, but slightly different. Like the stars have Ketu. So when the comet is coming, so this tail called Ketu. So Atma Ketu. They are, these pranas are the tails of Atma. And it's also interesting. Oftentimes we say Atma duh ali dusha. Yeah. So and we also say dihati or dihati. And in many languages, spirit, even Latin, spirit respiration, spirit respiration. Yeah? Atman in German. To breathe is Atman. So in many languages there is some connection between breath, air, and spirit or soul. So here the Brahmans are called, the inner airs are called extensions of Atman. Antaryami, the super soul within. Ishvara, the supreme person. Sakshat, directly. Adu, please maintain. Na, us. Yad Vashe, under whose control? Sputam, the cosmic manifestation. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The inhabitants of Shakadvipa worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Vayu in the following words. O Supreme Person, situated as the Super Soul within the body, you direct the various actions of the different airs, such as prana, and thus you maintain all living entities. O Lord, O Super Soul of everyone, O Controller of the cosmic manifestation, under whom everything exists, may you protect us from all dangers. Patana, please protect. Interesting. Purpose. Through the mystic yoga practice called Pranayama, the yogi controls the airs within the body to maintain the body in a healthy condition. In this way, the yogi comes to the point of trance and tries to see the super soul within the core of his heart. Pranayama is the means to attain samadhi, trance, in order to fully absorb oneself in seeing the Supreme Lord as Antaryami, the super soul within the core of the heart. So air, we don't see it, hopefully. In Ljubljana we don't see it. Maybe in where? Beijing and New Delhi you can see it. Yeah. But here you don't see it. Ljubljana is, what was it? I think green capital of, you had something of Europe, right? But we don't see it, but it supports us. It supports our life. And even in New Delhi, you don't see it clearly, but it can kill you. It can kill you quickly. And in the kitchen, the gas, it stinks, right? You know the stink of the gas? So actually, yeah, this is artificially added. This stench, it's not there actually. They add it to alert a person that, oh, be careful, it's leaking. In fact, this is one of the tragic. It's one of the tragic reasons Ainda Prabhu had this explosion in his room, which finished his existence with us, because he had no sense of smell. Somebody, not many people knew. Somebody brought him the flower. He said, "Well, I cannot. This type of prasad I cannot honor." He said, "Because I have no. I don't know exactly when. Some disease or something he had. He lost his olfactory, his sense of smell. So even though there was the smell in the room, there was no way for him to. He couldn't feel it. That there is gas in the. So you may not see it. Sometimes you may not smell it, but it either gives us life or kills us. So here they are saying, please, can kill us quickly, can kill us slowly. If we have very dirty air, like for example, I remember in my my childhood, I was very impressed by the joke of the Egyptians in Cairo. In Cairo, the Egyptians are joking that the air is so polluted that just breathing it is the same as smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. So if you're not smoking, you're getting still the same damage, but no pleasure. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. And unfortunately also in New Delhi and some other places, there is so much pollution that, that basically many cities, sometimes it's not publicized, but in many cities, Europe is doing really well. And the West has done a lot in the 80s. They invented some special thing for the cars, and especially now that the electric cars are coming, and you have newer and newer, what is it, Euro 3, 4, 5, 6, what is this now? Standards for emissions in the cars. So it becomes more and more safe. Some of these cars, some of these newer cars, they pass you, you're not sure. Is it the petrol or is it the perfume? What is it? Strange. I don't know, what is it? They're trying to fight it, but the biggest danger, of course, is the heavy particles, or how should I say, it's not heavy, relatively, like coal. When they burn coal, it hangs in the air and it clogs the lungs. And then the statistics is that in the bigger cities, in polluted cities, people fall sick, respiratory diseases like cold, flu, and things like this, all kinds of diseases. They fall sick three times more often. 3 times more often in such polluted places. It's not advertised normally. The government, especially if they didn't try to do something about it in the first place, they did not advertise such statistics. But this is a well-known statistic. In some places, this is real. As far as I know, in Siberia, there are some places where people are 7, 8 times more prone to disease because of some factory or plant in the city. So this is the remnants of the industrial age, which is passing, it seems, quickly. The industrial age, and even the post-industrial age is passing. We are in the information age, and now it's going to move further to some next stage in terms of business. So air is extremely important. Also, I remember as a young boy, I read some Polish book on yoga, and they described pranayama and breathing exercises, and there was some study that did they in the school did they measure your lungs? How many liters you have in your lungs? Do you remember how many you had? 4? Who had 4? Who remembers having 4 liters?
15 years.
Huh?
15 years
You don't remember?
ago.
I think the top possible biggest is 6, as far as I understand. If you have a huge guy, like who we have here in the community, very tall. Mitya, yeah, okay, Mitya. Mitya, or somebody who's very tall and very big. Maybe they can have 6 liters. Who? Krišna. I should measure anything myself. How much? So, maximum is 6 liters. Normally, about 4 liters size, and then what I read is that a normal person
10%.
is using, not when we breathe normally, like now, we hardly use half a liter. Hardly use half a liter. So it's like, what will happen in a room if you only use, what is it, 15% of the room, and never touch the other parts, it will become dusty, dirty, right? And they say that this is one of the actual signs of aging, shrinking of lungs. Yeah? If, as a younger person, at least sometimes you run after the bus to catch the bus. As you get older, you say, I'll take the next one. Because once you ran and then you injured you or something, you know? So what happens is that in the older person, the lungs shrink to half a liter altogether. The older we get, the less we use our lungs. So now please let us all take breath. And this is also another misconception devotees often propagate, because we know that our life can be measured in the number of breaths. Have you heard it? Therefore, the devotees will say, do not do exercise. You see, when you exercise, how do you breathe? Right? So, you expand your life quickly. That may be alright, but you know that the untrained person makes 17 breaths a minute. And if you do train, then normally you will take 3-4 breaths a minute. So maybe you when you train, when you do exercise, maybe you do breathe quickly for 1 hour. But then 23 hours, you're breathing much less, and you also use your full lungs. You ventilate. You know what's the main reason of death in hospitals? Huh?
Breathing.
I cannot hear. Is yeah, Pljučnica. Thank you. Pljučnica. This is pneumonia, lung inflammation. Why does it start? Because the people don't breathe. They are lying. They don't move. They're not moving. So they are hardly using their lungs. So the air is not ventilated, and it starts, like water that's never changed. It starts spoiling. So that's the leading cause, the main cause of death in the hospitals. So basically, they just introduced a little pranayama there that theoretically it could cut this death rate at least significantly. And if they just breathe, it sounds so simple. It sounds almost too simple.
I managed to teach when I was for the Maestão, almost every day one came for 10 minutes, something like that, to teach us to breathe.
No, that's nice. So here is, says they teach you to breathe. One would think that, this is one thing we know how to do, breathe, if anything. But it turns out we don't. It turns out that it's a whole science. And we have a whole pranayama science to make you breathe. This is also why exercise rejuvenates, because at least it gives you some chance to breathe. Some years ago somebody sent me an interesting YouTube video called something Iceman or something. So this is a guy who lost his wife in an accident from Holland, and he was extremely depressed and suicidal. And then he decided, okay, let me try to find some pranayama or something. And then he started doing pranayama, and as a result, he seems to be now very happy and positive. Not only that, he is training people to do pranayama, and then he trains them to feel completely invulnerable to cold. So you can see he takes people for, like, I forgot how many days he trains them. They breathe, usually kapalabhati. Pastrika, this quick. and then you can see them laughing as a result, and then he puts them, dresses them in shorts and takes them to the mountains on the snow. And first he takes them to take bath in the ice-cold river, and then they take a few hours walking the mountains in with a bare torso and in shorts, meaning minimum clothes exposed to wind. And they seem to be okay, just by pranayama, just by breathing. Okay, this is not something I really call us to do, but it shows that such simple things everybody imagines we know how to do, breathe, can have such a varied influence on our well-being, on our emotions. Just breathing influences our emotions. Breathing influences your digestion. Breathing influences our sleep. There's a whole Svara Shastra in the Veda, a system of predicting, finding answers to questions. Like now, can you check which nostril is breathing more, left or right?
It's changing, no? How many hours? Left. How many hours changing? Sometimes.
So whoever, yes, about 2 hours. Yeah. So whoever has right nostril more open, you are awake. And those of you who have left nostril open, you're sleeping.
This one?
So right is hot, this is Pingala, left is cold, Ira. That's why after Prashadam you lie on the left side to open the right side, so there is fire. And vice versa. To fall asleep easier, you go on the right side to cool down, to open the cooling side. And before food, if it's cold, it's not going to digest easily. So there are some special, exercises how you put your, you twist your body to the right to open the right nostril. Different ways to do it. So it's all known to the yogis. And if you have both open equally, 100% equally, you are transcendental. This is sushumna. This is the middle. This is good for being equipoised, and this is good for meditation. And there are ways. You can see Sanatana Goswami in his description of Archana, deity worship, he speaks about pranayama. It was classical. Everybody in India always knew how to do at least some pranayama. Very simple pranayama. At least to balance the mind, to be able to meditate, to be peaceful. And Mama Samhita says that everybody who at the end of the day makes 3 pranayamas is purified from all the sin of the day. Whichever sins you did during the day are purified by just 3 pranayamas. Which sounds incredible. But I think this means not like big sins, killing a brahmana, but kill the brahmana. No, not so easy. For that you have to go around tools.
Tears under the water.
But like ordinary sins we commit all the time. Killing germs by breathing and so forth, and drinking. So you can see that all of these vital functions are a gift of Krishna. And you can see that in these different planets and these different areas of the universe, they worship different parts of the universal form of the Lord and these different energies. Probably this is a good material for somebody's research. Somebody could try to research. Can we find some connection between the microcosm and macrocosm, because there are some connections between different planets and different chakras, different levels of consciousness. So also between these different circles and different elements and functions worshipped, different aspects of the Lord worshipped in these different planets. So we depend on Krishna for everything. We depend on Krishna for everything. We depend, so without food, a person dies normally in 40 days, between 30 and 60. Without water, a person dies in 5 days, normally. Again, 3 to 10. I know devotees who lived without water for 10 days. Doing some special, but it has to be done in a special way. Without water, you can live for, usually, normally they say 5 days. Without breath, you can live for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, right? Plus or minus. Of course, there are some yogis or some athletes, like this famous David Blaine. His record is 18 minutes, and then some Norwegian beat him by staying underwater for 21 minutes, I think, is the present world record.
Now some Spanish guy, 24.
24?
Yes.
24 minutes. So, for example, David Blaine, to do his, he was practicing meditation, yoga, pranayama, and meditation. He would slow down his heartbeat, and he said it's otherwise not possible to actually survive. But anyway, normal person, 1 minute, 5 minutes. Yeah? 1 minute without air, we are panicking already. We are in total panic. This is the main thing they train the divers about, right? Not to panic and resist the urge to panic, because some people just take many breaths before diving, but it doesn't really help. It just reduces the sea level, the level of carbon, and creates an illusion, and the person can pass out underwater. So those who are professional divers, they are trained not to do this, but just tolerate. You're panicking and you say, okay, no air, no problem. So they have some records, like they dive, I think, 200, what is it, 200 feet or 200 meters?
Feet.
Meters
is
no, it's some crazy, it's some crazy amount, something like 200 meters they dive, but this is with weight.
20 atmosphere.
Yes, so in that level, their lungs shrink to the size of a walnut. So much compression is there. Anyway, and then they have to come out and count to how much? 5 or something, or they have to count, or they have to answer, show 4. They should have to show that they are still conscious, that they are still not crazy. Only then it's covered. Okay, he did.
On some level, there's like a nitrogen drunkenness that makes you less conscious to answer these questions. So then you have to equalize the pressures.
So, at any rate, without air, after 1 minute we panic, after 1 minute, we can die. We start dying for 5 minutes. So, what about Krishna consciousness? How much can you live? How much can you live without Krishna consciousness? So it seems no problem. I can skip chanting, I can skip reading, associating, and I can live. I did it for millions of years. But no, even in that condition, you must have Paramatma with you, as is mentioned here. And he supports you in every regard. Without Krishna consciousness, in fact, we cannot live even half a second. And it's just the question of noticing Krishna, turning around to Krishna. And everything we do is learning to, this is the International Society for Krishna consciousness. So everything we do is meant to teach us to notice Krishna, to remember Krishna, to understand Krishna a little more, and to train us to do something for Krishna. Yesterday I was talking to my friend, and he had a heavy decision to make, something connected to his life, and we were discussing that, how to make it for Krishna, how to make this decision for Krishna. And he said, I don't see how to connect it to Krishna. How can I make it for Krishna? So then I said, yeah, it's difficult, but it seems that this is the trouble we have in every area. This is the challenge we need to learn how to do everything for Krishna. And it's not the activity or area or action itself which is a challenge. Like, for example, going to your office, working, some family duties or something, that how do you do this for Krishna? No, I can forget about Krishna while chanting japa. I can even chant my japa, not for Krishna. I can look at our merciful Panchatattva, not for their pleasure. I can speak on the Bhagavatam, not for Krishna's pleasure. Easily. We can do everything. I can sing, not for Krishna. So, but at least it's obviously connected to Krishna. At least it's easy when we do remember, we are in the temple. Oh yeah, yes. This is the Bhagavatam place. I think this is Bhakti. Bhakti. So Bhakti can be offered, right? Okay. I don't know how. Okay, I think it's Krishna. I think you like it. So, okay, maybe you can like it, okay? Can you take it, please, maybe? At least you train. It's an easy and good and auspicious ground to train this anukulya intention. This is for you, Krishna. This is for you. Please be pleased. Please behave. But then we have to spread it to all the areas. We must have a very solid part of our day with the direct bhakti to nourish our heart. Direct bhakti, Sarupasita bhakti. But then the idea, Prabhupada says, is to do everything for Krishna. And so these descriptions, they show, okay, in different planets, they worship Krishna as the water, Krishna as the air, Krishna as everything. So next time you breathe, if you ever breathe again, consciously, you can think, this is Krishna. He supports us from within. Actually, everything that's happening in the body is a pneumatic system, pneumatica. It's by these 5 plus 5 pranas pushed around. So that's Krishna. It's Krishna's system. That's his mercy. That's his energy. And these different Bhagavatam descriptions show that he can be conscious. We can worship the Lord in all these different manifestations. So may the Lord, as the wind, protect us from all dangers. And of course, the best pranayama is lovingly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It automatically pacifies your mind, sometimes too much. Okay, Hare Krishna. Questions, points, comments? With our group?
The pranayama is what is the important? This Kali Yuga is pranayama very important, or like the Kali Yuga said, Hare Nam, now tell me Hare Nam is Kevala.
Yes.
What is the more important?
Well, obviously Harinam is the, if person does only one thing, okay, let them do the Harinam, the chanting. Although I remember this year from Madhavananda Prabhu, I heard Gaur Govinda Maharaj saying that if you do one thing in sadhana, this should be the Bhagavad, reading the Bhagavad. That's what he said. But these two are together, because if you read the Bhagavatam, you will read it. I must chant. If you read the books, Prabhupada says the main order of the Guru is chanting at least 16 rounds. So if you read it, you will read. So sometimes you see Harinam, because this is the Yuga Dharma. So obviously pranayama, we don't even have it anywhere clearly or separately described or taught, because you cannot reach really perfection just through pranayama. But we should take some, we should do some exercise, we should do some, we should take whatever help is needed. Like Prahladananda Maharaj is joking that sometimes we join and we do full-time service and we neglect our health completely. So then after some time it may happen that just staying functional becomes our full-time job. It takes the whole day to just be functional. So best to balance. And pranayama does not necessarily mean that you sit and you breathe or something. No, even any exercise, going on the bike, just going for a fast walk, that's already pranayama. If you go here, it's so nice, you just cross the road, you're in Tibuli or in Shishka, right? In the forest. That's the beauty of Ljubljana. You have so much greenery around. The green capital of Europe. So that's also pranayama. And you can see that this is traditional. Even Babaji, they will do the parikramas very fast. They do so fast. Even Prabhupada, he was walking so fast that young boys couldn't catch him. Shuddhakirti Prabhu says, they were praying, 19-year-old boys, they were praying, oh Krishna, when Prabhupada will turn back? In the morning, it's not the morning walk. That's also pranayama. And it's not, you can chant and walk or
But outside, many have Indian, many yogi and so many, Ramdev Baba, their bhakti, I don't know, they have discussed very shortly. But pranayama, they said pranayama is more important.
So this is for physical people. People who are fully physical, who are fully identified with the body, then you tell them about bhakti, they don't have even a concept. Bhakti, what's bhakti? So, one soul, one God, what are you talking about? I'll tell them about body and breathing, oh yeah, I'll tell you more. Okay. But if they start, their consciousness can be purified. So that's what Prabhupada says, that this is for physical, those who identify very much with the physical body. So okay, give them this Hatha Yoga, but then they will become purified. As I remember in Krišna's BBT in the Swedish BBT center, one devotee from Croatia, Ija Bojan, he's still there actually. He was telling me how he started doing yoga, he found some book, and he started doing yoga, just trying to do it. But from what he described, it looks like he does it not the first life. Because he said he immediately started doing Shavasana, or full relaxation. And so he said, I could feel no cold, I could like transcend cold, transcend some gross experiences. And then he said he lost interest in his old company who were drinking and smoking. Automatically, it was boring for him all of a sudden. He started doing some yoga and his old company became too boring. Just, beer and smoking, what was, not interesting. So then he met devotees, and devotees told him, you must chant. And they said 16 rounds, you should chant 16 rounds, but you, okay, in the beginning you can start with 8. So he thought, okay, 1 round means you go forward and backward. So he was doing 8 like this. So then he found, I was doing 16.
That's how I change it.
Who? You? Yeah, also. Yes, it's logic. Round. There and back. Right? So, makes sense. Yes. And he gave me one of the first interesting instructions on chanting in a concentrated way. He was the one who taught me to count these mantras and some other tips to deepen the meditation. So what I'm saying is that yes, pranayama is not really a sadhana. It's not part of.
Bhakti have connection for pranayama?
Not directly. As not directly. But if person starts, it may rise. It may raise one to sattva more, and in sattva one is more open. One naturally is inclined to something more religious, spiritual. In the Gita, we have this Gita Mahatmya, quoted by Srila Prabhupada in the introduction. So this is Shankaracharya's Gita Mahatmya. And there he says, our pranayama is Bhagavad Gita.
Har pranayama Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Wow.
So how do we do pranayama? We say Sarva Dharma Ekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tam Sarva Bhavaryo Moksha Ishyami
One breath.
This is our pranayama.
Wow.
Then the Bhagavatam. We inhale Sarva Bhagavata Prana. Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu, Sarva Bhagavata Prana. The Sananda Goswami says, O Bhagavatam, you are prana, you are the prana of all the devotees. You are the life-giving air of all devotees. That's our pranayama. We chant this. So this is the necessary pranayama. This you must do. Other pranayama, it's good if you can see here something is described, but that's already just secondary, auxiliary to help assistance. Yes.
But what is it in pranayama that destroys sin then?
Yes.
What is it about it? It is just an act that is conducive for sattva.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because it's also described in the 3rd canto, in Kapila Shiksha. It's not only Manosamhita, it says in the 3rd canto, in Kapila Shiksha, that a devotee does pranayama. Well, it is Yoga Mishra Bhakta or Bhakti Mishra Yogi. He does pranayama, and by pranayama he purifies himself from all sin. It's mentioned there. And there Prabhupada says that what we do is we chant Hare Krishna and that achieves the same. But how does pranayama, just breathing, purify from sin? So I cannot remember any clear answer to this question from the Shastra, but my understanding is that because pranayama, what is a sin? A sin is ignorance, and a sin is some wrong desire in the subtle body, harmful desires in the subtle body. And pranayama balances the subtle body. So therefore, it makes things smooth, and so helps one rise from tamas and rajas to sattva. So in this way, because it raises one to sattva, therefore these sinful desires will be gradually removed. I understand something like this. It balances one, cools the passionate down, and invigorates the lazy up, so to say. So one becomes more balanced.
Just recently, Kuru Prabhu had a discussion regarding the fast chanting, and I was just wondering, when we chant in different rhythms, obviously also our breathing changes. Is it connected to the consciousness and the breathing, and how actually breathing and chanting are connected and important in developing Krishna consciousness?
It happens automatically. You can see that the higher levels of yoga, if you do them in a perfect way, automatically take care of the lower levels of yoga. For example, if you are completely focused, your breath usually stops. Like if you are threading a needle, you stop breathing. Or if you are soldering some electric wire or something, you are soldering, you stop breathing automatically. So if you become completely focused, then automatically the breath becomes completely balanced, and can even stop for some time. So in the same way, if you chant completely attentively, then your breath will automatically find the proper balance, completely attentively. There are some devotees who try to also include breathing or deep breathing in chanting, so they try to chant as many mantras in one breath as possible. Somebody chants 11 mantras in one breath.
We are also trying sometimes. You want means how many you can chant down.
But this is oftentimes distracting. Oftentimes it distracts if you focus too much on breathing. Another thing, also Ayendra Prabhu, when he was trying to chant more, or I also remember when I was chanting in the mountains, if you don't chant on inhalation, you basically don't chant. If you are in the mountains, then you learn to chant also Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Both ways, in and out.
Both ways, yeah.
Chant in and out. Yes, this way you don't miss, you don't skip, you don't waste time.
I was just wondering if faster chanting kind of induces like Vastrika, like really fire breath.
No. Because Vastrika is induced by very vigorous kirtan.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Yes. Okay, Hare Krishna, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Ganesha ki jai, Hare Purusha Prabhu ki jai, Ljubljana Sangha ki jai.
Ajmo djecu, ajmo.